Y'all, I gotta tell you something that's gonna blow your mind. The job that made me famous, the one that changed my whole life, they told me no 3 times. But here's the crazy part. Last month, I met a young woman named Briana who got the exact same rejection I got 30 years ago. And what happened next? Well, that's where this story gets interesting. See, most people think success is a straight line. You apply, you get hired, you live happily ever after. But let me tell you what really happens when destiny is trying to find you. But you keep looking in the wrong places. Let me take y'all back to 1992. I'm in Manhattan walking into this glass tower on 42nd Street. I got on my best suit, and when I say best, I mean my only good suit that didn't have a stain on it. I'm carrying this leather briefcase that I bought from a pawn shop, trying to look like I belong in this fancy building. The job? Host of a morning talk show called Good Morning New York. Y'all, this was IT for me. This was gonna be my big break. I'd been doing comedy for years, grinding it out in clubs where they paid me in drink tickets and leftover chicken wings. But this was network television. This was my shot at the big leagues. I get to the 23rd floor, and they got me waiting in this reception area with marble floors and paintings that probably cost more than my car. I'm sitting there rehearsing my pitch, you know? Good morning, I'm Steve Harvey, and I'm gonna make your morning show the most entertaining hour on television. But here's what I didn't know sitting in that waiting room. I was about to get an education in rejection that would change my whole perspective on the word no. The first executive, Mr. Patterson, he looks at my headshots, looks at my resume, looks at me and says, "Steve, you're funny, but morning television, that's a different animal. We need someone with more traditional hosting experience." Strike one. 2 weeks later, I'm back in that same building, different floor, different executive. Ms. Rodriguez this time. She says, "Steve, I love your energy, but our demographics show that morning viewers want someone more familiar, someone who feels like family." Strike two. Now here's where most people would quit. Here's where most people would say, maybe this ain't for me. But something inside me said, not yet, Steve, not yet. Third meeting, same building, 31st floor this time. Mr. Johnson. And let me tell you, this man looked at me like I was asking to marry his daughter. He didn't even let me finish my pitch. "Steve," he says, "you're trying too hard to be something you're not. Television wants authenticity, and you're giving us performance." 3 rejections, same building, same dream, same answer. No, thank you. I walked out of that building feeling like somebody had reached into my chest and squeezed my heart until it stopped beating. I stood on that sidewalk in Manhattan watching all these important-looking people in their expensive suits walking past me like I was invisible, and I thought, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm fooling myself. Now fast forward to last month. I'm in San Francisco doing a speaking event at the convention center. After my talk, this young woman approaches me. Beautiful, confident, but I can see something in her eyes. That same look I had walking out of that Manhattan building 30 years ago. "Mr. Harvey," she says, "I'm Briana Williams, and I think I just lived your story, but in reverse." Now that got my attention. Briana tells me she's a 28-year-old software engineer from Oakland, Stanford graduate, top of her class, been working at a startup for 3 years building artificial intelligence solutions. But her dream, her real dream, was to work at Google. Not just any job at Google. She wanted to lead their new AI ethics division. "I prepared for 6 months, she tells me. I studied every Google product, every company value, every interview question I could find online. I networked with current employees, attended Google events, even learned to code in languages I'd never used before." Y'all, this girl did her homework. First interview, video call with the hiring manager, Sarah Chen. Briana nails the technical questions, explains her vision for ethical AI, shares her ideas about preventing algorithmic bias. Sarah's nodding, taking notes, seems impressed. 2 days later, "Thank you for your interest, but we've decided to move forward with candidates who have more specific experience in policy development." Strike one. But Briana doesn't quit. She spends the next 3 months getting certified in AI policy, takes online courses from MIT, even volunteers with a nonprofit working on tech ethics. Second interview, different team leader, Michael Torres. This time, she's got policy experience, research papers, real-world examples of her ethical AI framework. "Briana," he says after the interview, "you're impressive, but we need someone who understands Google's culture better, someone who's been in big tech longer." Strike two. Now here's where Briana shows me she's got that same stubborn streak I had. Instead of giving up, she gets a job at another big tech company, Facebook, now Meta. Spends 8 months there, learns the culture, builds relationships, develops her network. Third interview at Google 6 months ago. New position opened up, same AI ethics division. This time she's got big tech experience, policy background, proven track record. The interview goes perfect. They even give her a tour of the campus, introduce her to the team she'd be working with. Everyone's excited. She's already mentally planning her first day. Then comes the call. Briana, we were really impressed, but we've decided to promote someone internally. You're obviously talented, but sometimes timing just isn't right. 3 rejections, same company, same dream, same answer, not this time. She tells me she sat in her car in the Google parking lot for 30 minutes just crying. I felt like I wasn't good enough, she says. Like maybe I was reaching too high, dreaming too big. But here's the part that gave me chills, y'all. She looks at me and says, Mr. Harvey, I know you always talk about rejection being redirection, but how do you know when to keep pushing and when to accept that maybe this just isn't meant for you? Now, let me tell you what I told Briana, because this is the same lesson it took me 30 years to learn. See, what both Briana and I figured out is that sometimes rejection isn't about you not being good enough. Sometimes rejection is about you not being ready for what you think you want because something bigger is waiting for you. Those 3 rejections I got for Good Morning New York. They weren't telling me I couldn't do television. They were telling me I wasn't ready for that particular version of television. I was trying to fit into their box instead of showing them why they needed to build a new box. And Briana's 3 rejections from Google, they weren't saying she wasn't qualified. They were saying that Google wasn't ready for her vision yet, but someone else was gonna be. Here's what both of us learned the hard way. When you get rejected for the right reasons, you're closer to success than you think. When they say you're trying too hard to be something you're not, that's not an insult. That's intel. When they say we need someone more familiar, they're telling you that you're offering something new, something different, something they can't categorize yet. The problem ain't that you're not good enough. The problem is that you're ahead of your time and you're knocking on doors that ain't ready to open yet. Y'all want to know what happened after those rejections? 3 months after my 3rd no from that Manhattan building, I get a call from a small syndicated show called Me and the Boys. They'd heard about me through a comedian friend, never seen my television audition tapes, didn't care about my traditional hosting experience. They just wanted someone authentic, someone real, someone who could connect with people instead of just talking at them. That show led to The Steve Harvey Show. That show led to Family Feud. That show led to everything y'all see today. But here's the beautiful part. If I had gotten that morning show job in 1992, I would never have been available for Me and the Boys. I would have been locked into someone else's vision of who I should be instead of discovering who I actually was. And Briana, 2 weeks after she told me her story, she gets a call from a company called Tech Ethics Solutions, a startup founded by former Google employees who left because they wanted to build ethical AI without corporate limitations. They offered her the position of Chief Ethics Officer, not just a team member, not just a contributor, the leader of the entire ethical framework for a company that's now valued at $200 million. But here's the kicker. The founder of Tech Ethics Solutions, he was one of the Google employees who interviewed her during her 2nd rejection. He left Google 3 months later because he realized they weren't ready for the kind of innovative thinking Briana represented. He specifically recruited her because Google wasn't ready for her vision, but he was building a company that was. So here's your homework tonight, and I want you to take this seriously. If you're dealing with rejection right now, if somebody just told you no when you deserved a yes, I want you to do what Briana and I learned to do. First, stop asking what's wrong with me, and start asking, what are they not ready for? Your rejection might be telling you that you're offering something innovative, something ahead of its time, something that doesn't fit their current model. Second, document the feedback. Every rejection comes with information. When they say you need more experience, they're telling you what to build. When they say you don't fit our culture, they're telling you to find the culture that fits you. When they say not this time, they're telling you that timing matters. Third, use rejection as market research. Briana didn't just collect rejections, she collected data. Each no told her something about what the market thought it wanted versus what it actually needed. My rejections taught me that traditional television wasn't ready for my style, but there was an audience hungry for something different. Your current rejection isn't your final answer. It's just information about where not to look next. Remember this, the job that's meant for you, the opportunity that's got your name on it, the success that's waiting for you, it can't be taken by somebody else. But you might have to get rejected from the wrong wrong opportunities to find the right one. Briana's sitting in her dream job right now, not because Google finally said yes, but because Google's no led her to something better. I'm sitting here talking to millions of people every day, not because that morning show hired me, but because their rejection redirected me to my real purpose. Your rejection might be your redirection. Your no might be pointing you toward your yes. And that door that won't open, it might be protecting you from walking into the wrong room. So the next time somebody tells you no, don't hear never. Hear not yet, or not here, or not this way. But don't ever hear not you. Because success isn't about avoiding rejection. Success is about collecting rejections until you find the one that's actually acceptance wearing a disguise. Y'all remember that. Your breakthrough is on the other side of your breakdown. And sometimes your biggest no is just clearing the path for your biggest yes. That's your lesson for today. Now go out there and get rejected for all the wrong opportunities so you can find the right one that's been waiting for you all along.